with diverse clients and co-workers. We all have a culture, behaviours, beliefs and values characteristic of our social, ethnic or age group. It influences how we see ourselves and others, the way we think and the way we do things. We are most influenced by our upbringing and our religion and culture, but also by our life experiences, education, work and social circles. Australia has many diverse cultures, with over half its citizens being born overseas. Everyone should have the right to celebrate their cultural heritage and to be given equal opportunities. It is illegal in Australia to verbally or physically attack someone because they come from a different culture. In return, citizens should be loyal to Australia and accept the laws of the country, including democracy, tolerance, equity and freedom of speech. In addition to ethnicity, beliefs and customs and language, diversity also includes religion, age, sexuality, family structure, gender and special needs. Within a childcare centre or family daycare scheme, there will be many cultures and beliefs among the children, families and staff. It is important to recognise that there are many ways of doing things and not to think that your way is the only way. Some areas of difference are obvious, such as language, dress, appearance and diet, while others are more subtle, such as learning and communication styles, parenting styles and expectations of the families. There may also be parents or children with a disability. When communicating with anyone, we need to be aware of our non-verbal message and ensure our body language is matching what we are saying. We also need to be aware of paralanguage, or the pitch and tone of our voice, and the formality of speech. We need to be careful about exposing our personal beliefs when in a professional setting, and be guided by the policies and procedures of the service. We should be unbiased and not make assumptions about people on the basis of culture, second-guessing what they might think and do. Making generalised comments is inappropriate. Staff should avoid all aspects of discrimination, such as prejudice, bias, stereotyping and stigma. Prejudice is to prejudge someone, forming an opinion without knowing all the facts. Prejudice is usually negative and directed at an individual or a group based on a stereotypical view of difference. Cultural bias is to make assumptions about people from other backgrounds. Stereotyping is making assumptions about culture based on something you know about an individual or small group from a similar background. Stigma refers to negative labelling of an individual or group. For example, people with mental illness or with AIDS carry a stigma. There are 5 laws that govern aspects of discrimination. They are the Age Discrimination Act, the Disability Discrimination Act, the Human Rights and Equal Opportunity Commission Act, the Race Discrimination Act and the Sex Discrimination Act. The following are examples of discriminatory behaviour. Not wanting to help someone because you do not like something about them. Refusing to serve someone or treating them differently. Making negative comments about someone's culture. Excluding someone because of their religion. Bullying someone, or deliberately using language you know a person will not understand. Discrimination can occur when selecting someone for a job. All applicants should be assessed on their merits. Some staff may not respond to all their colleagues equally and may only form friendships within their own culture. In childcare, families should be given a place at the service under the Priority of Access scheme, not disadvantaging any cultural group. Assessments and performance appraisals in the workplace should be carried out on an individual basis, according to strengths and needs. Racism does not recognise the value of cultural differences and has no place in the childcare industry. Some examples of racist behaviour are making fun of someone's clothes, food or physical appearance, telling jokes directed at a particular group of people, using insulting language about a certain group of people, telling people to go back where they came from, favouring some employers over others on the basis of where they came from. Other examples of racism are making fun of people's accents or names, refusing to work with or sit next to someone from a different culture, writing graffiti about people from a cultural group, stereotyping a group of people, or physically assaulting someone from a different background. It is important to treat everyone equally and as unique individuals. Introduce yourself to all new families and staff and find out more about people's culture, religion and customs so that you understand them better. It is fine to admit that you do not know about some aspect of diversity, but that you are willing to learn. Any families or staff who feel they are being discriminated against will not want to attend the service and will no doubt talk about it and give the business a bad name. Staff would feel unsupported and would not do their job properly. Staff would also find it hard to relate to their colleagues and would be unhappy and anxious, which ultimately impacts on the children. Families and staff who speak a different language may feel that they will be teased if they speak it. In fact, in childcare, we should be encouraging the children to retain their family's first language and should feel that they are lucky to be bilingual. All services should have written information available in languages represented in the local community and review these along with their policies on a regular basis. Often families feel they should become westernized and deny their own culture instead of celebrating it, so that they keep their cultural identity. Immigrant families may have suffered trauma and are under a lot of stress becoming used to a different way of life. They may have no family or friends to act as support and may find their qualifications are not recognized here, causing a drop in income and living conditions. These families may feel they are discriminated against, which can lead to low self-esteem or aggressive or disruptive behaviour. In a service that practices discrimination, there will be little interaction between the different groups, and there may be discord and arguments. There will be a very unfriendly atmosphere, and the business will lose clients and staff, and will give the whole industry a bad name. Indigenous Australians are one of the groups that are losing some of their native language, and have adopted Aboriginal English as their main avenue of communication. From having around 750 different languages, there are now only about 150, with most of these in danger of dying out, as only 10% of the children are learning to speak them. Keeping one's culture and native language is important to retain cultural identity and connection with history and community. We should encourage all cultures to continue to speak their language and to teach it to their children. Staff need to challenge discrimination and be a positive role model in the workplace. They should have regular training so that they are aware of sensitive issues and appropriate practices. Everyone should examine their own attitudes and knowledge of cultural practices and include families in the provision of diverse experiences for children. All childcare services should be inclusive of all aspects of diversity, including making provision for special needs children. All workplace relationships should be built on mutual respect and with an understanding of different cultural expectations. Effective communication helps to bridge cultural differences and form successful cross-cultural relationships. Staff should treat everyone equally and be professional at all times. It is important to talk to colleagues and families from other cultures in order to find out as much as you can about their expectations and develop an understanding of their beliefs and customs. This will ensure the service is offering high-quality care that meets the needs of the staff and the families. Staff can be offered training in diversity issues so they are more knowledgeable about sensitive issues. When there are a lot of families from one culture, they may feel more comfortable with staff from the same culture, and this can also aid communication. Clear communication is an important part of educators' relationships with families. Right from the time of enrolment, there is information that needs to be clearly passed on. Providing written information in different languages is a good beginning, but it may be necessary to involve an interpreter. The government provides a free service, or there may be staff members who can act as interpreters. Sometimes families may bring a friend or relative along to help, but staff need to make sure they are passing on the correct information, and it is not appropriate to use them if the information is sensitive. There are many messages that need to be communicated each day, so it would be important to find a way that works for the family and the staff, so that they do not miss out on some vital information. Apart from the difficulties in communicating verbally, staff need to be aware of the differences in body language, as some cultures may be offended by gestures that we take for granted. Some examples are eye contact, shrugging the shoulders, thumbs up signs, touching someone's arm, or standing very close. Many cultures do not have physical contact between genders, and in some the father is always the decision maker. Staff should allow new families to take the lead regarding greetings and methods of communication, and to research as much as they can to avoid causing offence. When speaking to someone who speaks very little English, staff must be patient and show some empathy for the other person's situation. It may be necessary to repeat what they are saying or to say it in a different way. They should not raise their voice, but speak slowly and clearly, emphasizing key words. They should avoid using jargon, slang, or cliches. It is sometimes possible to make yourself understood by miming or using pictures. Staff should be aware that people from some cultures will agree with whatever a person is saying to avoid offending the speaker. Staff should listen carefully and focus on what the person is trying to say in return. Many educators learn some basic sign language to use with babies and young children, and also any parents who are hearing impaired. The meanings of some languages depend a lot on different tones of voice, pace, and inflection. Eye contact, gestures and facial expressions, and how a person stands can all have meaning, so it is important for staff to be aware of these differences. When speaking to someone from another culture, staff should smile, stand with shoulders back and a little way away from the person. They should avoid pointing at people or making expansive gestures, and should look at people without staring. Nodding their head can indicate they are listening. Some Indigenous Australians may not divulge personal information, or even communicate at all until they get to know someone better. Establishing a relationship may be easier if staff already know someone from the Aboriginal community. Aboriginal people may have different priorities and an awareness of time. Indigenous Australians belong to large kinship groups, whose members may expect to be involved in bringing up the child. There may be many different people collecting the child and expecting to be included in any communication. Aboriginal workers are often preferred because they understand more about these issues. Staff can find out more about their diverse clients by reading the enrolment form, talking to families, doing some research and consulting with other staff. It is wrong to make assumptions based on someone's culture, gender or special need, so it is important to take the time to get to know the families and children in your care. Try and put yourselves in their shoes and listen to what they say in a non-judgmental way. Always check to see if you have made yourself understood. Communication or lack of it is the most common cause of conflict, along with unclear definitions of responsibilities and lack of resources. However, communication itself may be difficult across cultures due to differences in both verbal and non-verbal communication. Resolving conflict involves a process. Firstly, the issue must be clearly identified so that both parties understand the problem. Then it should be discussed with the aim to resolve the conflict. It is especially important that conflict resulting from cross-cultural misunderstandings are resolved quickly and sensitively before any accusations of discrimination or bias, which goes against the service policies and the Anti-Discrimination Acts. It is essential to remain calm while negotiating and think about what you want from the process. Focus on those issues and avoid making personal comments. Try and find some common ground and things that you can agree on. Both parties need to be happy with the outcome of any discussion which needs to consider any cultural requirements. If it is impossible to agree on a solution, outside agencies may need to be involved in mediation. Open discussion of cultural issues can lead to a greater tolerance among staff and families, and can lead to feeling more secure in the community. The same issues rarely re-emerge. Some states train staff in cross-cultural conflict resolution, which reduces the time spent on relationship issues and increases awareness. Conflict can also be caused by people making racist comments, teasing or abusing someone due to their cultural background or judgmental behaviour. This is totally unacceptable in the childcare environment. The service should have a dress code that includes items of clothing worn for religious or cultural reasons, and policies that emphasise equity and appropriate and respectful communication. It is up to the director to make sure the staff cooperate with each other, with tolerance, respect and understanding. Any disagreements, even minor ones, should be dealt with before they escalate. Any conflict can make staff unenthusiastic about going to work and can have physical effects on the body, such as rapid heartbeat or feeling dizzy, tension in the neck or face, headaches, stomach aches, breaking into a cold sweat, and tearfulness. There may be emotional feelings of hurt, anger, grief, annoyance, betrayal or fear. In extreme cases of discrimination where conflict resolution has not worked, the staff member is likely to be disciplined and may lose their job. If you are a victim or you witness discrimination, report to the supervisor immediately, who will require you to put up the complaint in writing. Follow up within 3 days to find out what is being done, and if no further action is taken, you can go to the Equal Opportunity Commission. It is important to recognise your own culture before you can understand and appreciate differences in values, beliefs and traditions of other cultures. Cultural intelligence is recognising that a person's cultural background will affect the way they do things and forms a basis for negotiation. We all have a unique cultural identity, whether it is ethnicity, religion, family traditions, or life experience. These differences make us who we are and will impact on the workplace in a negative or a positive way. We should celebrate difference and learn from it. This concludes the presentation.